Welcome to the opposition preview. I'm Patrick standing in for D. I have today on the show Pete from the Loaded Mag to preview the upcoming Carabao Cup match between Newcastle and Crystal Palace. First, Pete, welcome to the show. Appreciate that. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Thanks for having me. Always appreciate coming on and talking Crystal Palace and Newcastle. Always enjoy the engagement with our channels. It's always a good chat.
I think I've been on your channel. Everybody, please make sure you subscribe to Loaded Mag. It's a great channel for the Newcastle fans, and again for any kind of content. But check that out. So again, we're here to talk about the upcoming game, the League Cup game. Now I know you guys, your first round match, you beat Tranmere, right? 2-1.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. We beat Oxford 2-0. So what are your thoughts on first, let's get the league. I mean, you guys are flying. So what's your thoughts on your league so far this year? Your league flying?
I think there's still an element of us pinching ourselves to believe that, you know, we're performing this way. I mean, I don't want to be like a broken record, but most fans just keep saying, you know, a year ago, where were we? A year ago, where we were. And it's just almost come full circle to the point where we are right now. We could have never imagined it, but the one thing I'll say is that Newcastle fans are just enjoying every moment. It could well last. It may well not. Nobody really knows, but we're just kind of enjoying the ride for what it is right now. Because, as you will all know, we've been through horrible times under our previous owner. So to be in this position now, it's just amazing.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little envious of your success, but hopefully under Vieira at some point we'll get there. So as far as the League Cup, now again, you guys are flying in the league. You lost one game in the league all season, the heartbreaking Liverpool loss. How are you guys looking at the League Cup as far as this season?
I've got to be honest. We as fans, we want to win a cup. It's what we've been talking about for years, even through our dark moments. We said the one thing we held on to is that there's still a chance of winning a cup. But we had an owner that didn't care. Now we've got an owner and a manager that says we want to win trophies. We're going to go all out for the cup. So, you know, we are excited about cup matches of what it could potentially bring. And you know, we as a fan base, we want to win. We want to see a strong side. We want to go all out. We want to make sure we try and progress, because ultimately it could be the first game back after the World Cup. It is the Carabao Cup game, the next round. You know, we want to be in the hat for the next round, because, as you will know, with the FA Cup, is that, you know, if you keep putting those wins together, all of a sudden you're at Wembley, and we'd love. I think Newcastle fans, there's no fans more at this moment in time that would love a trip to Wembley as a potential of winning something.
I've got to ask, I don't remember, when was the last time you guys were at Wembley? Was it the FA Cup?
If actually, officially, the last time we were at Wembley is when we played Tottenham.
Of course, right.
So look, Patrick, we hold on to that. We hold on to that.
I forgot.
But in terms of actually being at a final at Wembley, we've been to a few semi-finals, but we're at the Millennium Stadium when it was the change around when Wembley was being built. But it was, I think it was 99, if I'm right in thinking.
Okay.
I think final against Arsenal. You know, we had a couple of years where we had Man U and Arsenal in the FA Cup final back to back, and I think that might have been the last time, you know, in a cup that we got to that point.
Okay. So as far as you know, Vieira's talked to our fans about how he's going to take it seriously, but we've got, you know, we don't have a very deep squad, and we've got like some injuries. But as far as your squad, as far as the team, what do you think Eddie Howe's going to do as far as filling the team on Wednesday?
See, this is the hard part, is that knowing exactly what Eddie Howe's going to do. So Eddie Howe said he wants to win a cup. He wants to have a strong real push for it. We're at home, so it's a favourable draw for us. Because we're at St. James's Park.
Absolutely.
Reason. However, you know, the only injury we've got of note is Alexander Isak. He's not going to be fit until after the World Cup. So Alice at Maximin's just come back. He's had a couple of cameos now. I think he'll look to start. I think he'll play. John Joe Shelby, very similar. Had a couple of cameos now, but I think he'll look to play. So we've got some depth coming in. We've got Joe Linton that's back from suspension. He didn't play on Sunday. against Southampton. So he'll be back. I think he'll play because he did play against Southampton. So those are the type of players that have come in. It's just the other players in the squad. You've got Ryan Fraser that's not played many minutes.
Right.
You've got Matty Target that hasn't really played. Dan Burns kept him out of the team.
Okay.
You've got Trippier, who had a slight hamstring strain. He played the rest of the game and was fine.
Okay.
Is he going to be rested? Is he going to be rested? Callum Wilson was dizzy and not feeling 100% because he was unwell last week. He came off at halftime. Is he going to play? They're all the question marks. For me, I think we might see one or two changes in the team. We've got Chelsea at the weekend, which is a massive game to sign off the Premier League first section of the season at St James's Park. I wouldn't be surprised to see the likes of Bruno Guimaraes on the bench.
Okay.
I think bringing Joe Linton in and John Joe Shelvey in and maybe going Joe Linton, John Joe Shelvey, maybe Willock or Longstaff as the alternates might be the way to go with a view of bringing Bruno on. I think Wood will start purely, but obviously he scored at the weekend.
Right.
I just think he's going to want to take a risk with Wilson.
Okay.
So I think there'll be a couple of changes there. Another one, Jamal Lascelles coming back in.
Right.
He's the captain, hasn't really played much football. I think he might come in for like the likes of Fabian Schär. So again, just some changes here and there. I think the fundamentals of the squad will stay together, but he'll make some changes to give one or two players some minutes.
Interesting. So before we go on Eddie Howe, I got to ask you about Miguel Almiron. Now, as you know, I live in the States now, and I followed him when he was in Atlanta United. He was one of the best players in the league. Got off to a tough start at Newcastle, but he is absolutely firing this season. So what are your thoughts on Almiron, honestly?
Honestly, if you'd have asked Newcastle fans at the back end of last season, and we did a program called Squad Game on our channel, in terms of who we'd keep, who would let go, who would be sort of a squad player. I think most Newcastle fans thought that Miguel Almiron was out the door in the summer. However, towards the end of last season, there were some signs of light there. That turned into something more serious because he was one of the best performers, if not the best performer in pre-season. He was the top goal scorer in pre-season. He was very, very good. And it was always a question, could he take it into a Premier League season? He's done that now. So he's really showing that consistency. But it goes back to the point that he actually had a decent start when he first came under Rafa Benitez, and he got a really bad hamstring injury that put him out at the end of the season. And then Rafa Benitez left. And then he inherited a manager in Steve Bruce who doesn't know how to coach a player.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what you've seen for the last 2.5 years is a player that's got potential but not been coached in the way to get the best out of him. Now what you've seen in just under a year is a manager that knows how to coach a player, who's coached a number of other players, Joe Linton, Fabian Schär, John Joe Shelvey, Sean Longstaff, and is now getting a tune out of Miguel Almiron. And this is what we've been waiting for. This is what we paid the 16 to 21 million pound from Atlanta United. This is what we wanted. And no Newcastle fan could be happier for him. We are absolutely made up for him.
That's brilliant.
He's just been fantastic for us.
I would ask that you don't play him on Wednesday because he scores against Palace all the time. I'm just throwing out there.
Well, see, this is the thing: is that you could argue that with his form, he would be one of those rested, and someone like Ryan Fraser come in. The only thing I'll say is that he has a fitness level that I've never seen from a player before. Exactly. He plays 90 minutes. He could play 90 minutes Wednesday, Saturday, and
amazing.
Everything. On the pitch.
Yeah,
and still be fit and ready to go the next game. Like I don't understand it. He's like a Duracell battery; he just doesn't stop for 90.
Did same thing at MLS. He did the same thing. I noticed that about him when he was about 23 back then, whatever, 22. He was young. Yeah, he was brilliant. Yeah, his energy levels were ridiculous. Yeah. So
it would not surprise me at all. And the fact that he's not playing in the World Cup may make that decision for Eddie Howe. In that, he's got 2 games now: Wednesday and Saturday.
And then Saturday, right?
And then he'll have a prolonged rest after that. Eddie Howe may be thinking, you know what, let's just play him through this period. As long as he's fit and firing and feeling good, it wouldn't surprise me if he starts the game.
Now you brought the World Cup up really quick. I want to talk about that very quickly. How many players are obviously your right back will be going, Trippier will be going. Who else do you think might go on the World Cup from your squad?
Okay, just for England?
No, for the World Cup in general, just to be gone for World Cup players.
Just in the last couple of hours, it's been announced that Bruno Guimaraes has been chosen for the Brazilian squad, so he'll be going, which is a great achievement for him.
Yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned Trippier. I think Callum Wilson's got a really good chance of going.
Definitely,
one of those backups to Harry Kane.
Pope.
Yeah, Pope's in the squad.
Nick
Of course.
Nick
Pope. He's in the squad. He'll definitely be going. And interestingly, obviously, it's a big squad, the 55-man squad. Dan Burn has been shortlisted in the wider squad as a left back. So,
okay. So it makes sense because there's injuries on left back. I know Shaw's not injured, but Chilwell got injured recently, so that would make sense that he did someone. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, he's been on fire for us recently playing at left back. So he's kept Matty Target out of the team. So he's in consideration for that position. Whether he gets into the squad or not is another thing.
Right.
He's in consideration for that. Other players outside of that, Sven Botman is in the provisional squad for
Netherlands, right?
Yeah,
right.
Now he's been called up before a few years ago, but not got a cap. He's in the provisional squad. Whether he makes it or not is another thing. I think he should. He's been one of the best centre-back performers in the Premier League this season, outperforming Van Dijk, who's a shoo-in at centre-back. I'm not saying he's better than him, but he's been outperforming him this season.
I understand,
So, he's in contention. I'm not sure if Switzerland made the World Cup.
Oh my gosh.
If they did make the World Cup, then Fabian Schär will be 100%.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's a great question. I don't even.
I'll try and find it out to see if he made the World Cup or not. If they made the World Cup, but if they did, he'll be a shoo-in because he's one of those like major regulars in the squad for Switzerland.
So my next point, my last one before we go on to score prediction would be just your thoughts on Eddie Howe. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna wax lyrical about him, but what are your thoughts on Eddie Howe?
Okay, Eddie Howe has been an absolute revelation for Newcastle United. I banged the drum for Eddie Howe a year before we actually signed him, when we had Steve Bruce previously, when we thought he was going to get sacked and never did. And I said he needs to be the guy. He was currently out of work at that particular time. He was the guy that I wanted because I just saw something in Eddie Howe that really resonated with me in terms of what we needed as a team, i.e. the coaching, the level of detail that he puts into his sort of scouting, his coaching, his day-to-day work with players. There's videos out there that have shown it in detail when he was at Bournemouth. And that was highly spoke about. So when he was in the running, I was really excited about him potentially being the manager. And obviously, of course, there were other managers linked. Unai Emery was supposedly offered the job before.
Now at Villa, right?
Now at Villa. And, who wouldn't want a European coach who's coached
high pedigree, won trophies, right?
Yeah. Who wouldn't want that? But for me, whereas some fans, I think at the time, saw it as a bit of a drop down getting Eddie Howe, I was actually really excited and quite vocal about him being manager now. Let's face it, what he's done, I don't think any Newcastle fan would have believed he would have done exactly what he's done right now.
Right.
We would have thought he'd have had a great chance of keeping us up, but keeping us up, playing Champions League form at the back end of last season, we were in the top 3 for performances in terms of form at the back end of last season. We've taken it into this season. We're now third in the league. I don't think anybody would have thought he would have done as good a job as he has.
So quickly,
so impressive. He's got every player giving every ounce of sweat and energy for him. He's just completely flipped the club on its head, and it's we just feel so lucky that we've got him as our manager at the moment.
I am now extremely pessimistic. I'm not how optimistic I was before you came on, but I know it's going to be a tough game on Wednesday. So what's your score prediction for the match?
Score prediction, Palace Newcastle games are always close. They're always close games, always quite tight. Obviously, at St James's Park, it was 0-0 earlier on in the season. I'm going to say it'll be another close one. I've got a feeling it'll be a 2-1. I'm going to go a 2-1 Newcastle win.
Oh, great. So, again, I want to thank Pete for coming on. Again, everybody, please check out the Loaded Mag. It's a great stuff on YouTube. Check it out. There'll be more stuff coming from D as far as Palace. We're going to have a match reaction to this Newcastle Palace game Wednesday, and there'll be a preview to our last match before the World Cup break against Forest this weekend. But again, Pete, appreciate you having you on, man. Great talking to you again, and I will say as best I can, good luck on Wednesday.
No, it's a pleasure, Patrick, as always. And look, best of luck to you guys after Wednesday for the rest of the season until we meet you at Selhurst Park.
Fair enough. Take care, mate. Appreciate it.
Top man.